train across the land. Every you pass, people they got out of hand. With DJ George and Robbie in front of the band, all because of all the time. Them promoters, all of them had silver tongue. They made you feel their effect was the best around. With promises of utopia and song, all because of all the time. Should I hear them come? I jump up low and shake your manifesto. Mama shake, mama shake. In 5 years nearly done, it's time to have the fun. So mama shake, mama shake. What a carnival! If you see Ramboat, join the bacchanal. Just to get the vote. RAMMPM, begging you, bet with them at party time. Party time. Join here to announce the big fete. Georgie decided to make everybody sweat. Since all you're smart and I don't wish, come and bet. Tell me when it's party time. Party time. There was one DJ called Robbie the Tax Wizard. For mixing tunes, that man was the hardest hand. He mixed up four, construct into one red band. All because of party time. Should I hear them jump? I jump up low and shake your manifesto. Mama shake, come let me mama shake. In 5 years nearly done, it's time to have a fun. So mama shake, come let me mama shake. Was a carnival? If you see Ramboat, join the bacchanal. Just to tip your vote. RANMPM, begging you, bet with them at party time. Party time. Operated at full blast. And if at the brigade, Lord, I'm catch them shaking glass. Just because was party time. Party time. Dirty tricks, just to tire me and you. Racketeers mix up with some lawyers too. And the airport man, he and all jump in the room. Just because was party time. Party time. Jump, I jump up low and shake your manifesto. Mama shake, mama shake. In 5 years nearly done, it's time to have a fun. So mama shake, mama shake. Oh, what a carnival. If you see Ramboat, join the bacchanal. Just behold they run. They crawl right back out in 1991. Whenever it's party time, party time. All you parties for, if you hear them laugh with me. Come along, drink your rum and eat roti. For the next 5 years, we control the treasury. Just because it's party time, party time. Papa, you a jump, I jump up low and shake your manifesto. Mama shake, mama shake. It's time to have fun. The 5 years nearly done so. Mama shake, mama shake. Was I gonna ball? If you see Rambo, join the back on hand. Just to get your vote. R-A-N-N-B-M, begging you, bet with them at party time. Party time.
Time again. Thinking about party, somebody tell me, we in this country is party people. What I say? Party people. They tell me that we forever coming together with one party or the other. So I tell them yes, I know, but not long ago. I noticed we trend the change. If the DJ we put, they wouldn't play the songs we say. Then people in the party does just stop so and break away. And if this song the DJ play, cause in this context and only lead to more retrenchment, the party's over. The party's over. And if we continue to jam, but in the jam, the end result is more recession. The party's over. The party's over. Don't bother to bend and strong as we take your speakers down. Cause all is in vain. We don't want no party again. Scream and shout, cause there is no doubt we are party people, party people. But don't bother to tell me so hard to try and make me feel bad. We are party people, but no more party would not put me into complacency. This time while we on the floor, man, we making sure that the DJ and the boys in line while they make we dance out of time. If we and the melody cannot agree cause it leading to more vagrancy, the party's over. The party's over. And if the lyrics can't say why food price so high that poor people could hardly buy, party's over. The party's over. Don't bother to beg and ball as we kick you out the hall. Cause all is in vain. We don't want your party again. Mentality is complacency because we are party people, party people. That should never be, but I'm forced to agree. We are party people, party people. I've seen while we rant and reel, and we fret and squeal. The DJ play these songs, he feel with no accountability given to me, and the whole country suffer badly for we party mentality. When the DJ and the boys raising they pay, but focus must protest each day. Party's over. The party's over. When the record shows healthcare so terrible that eggnog killing poor people. Party's over. The party's over. Don't bother to beg and cry and just ask me why. Cause all is in vain. We want your party again. everything they tell we. We are party people, but now we are matured and grown. And the facts have shown that the issues must come first. When you play your melody, let it mean something to we. Everywhere, bye-bye, wish you farewell, and your party could go to hell. When we children study hard, pass as a rule, but then there's no place for them in school. Party's over, the party's over. When education is simply a big joke, your past is cannot get you work. Party's over, the party's over. Don't bother to beg and call as we kick you out the hall. Your music is played, we want your party again. And when utilities rising daily but killing weed inefficiency, party's over. Did I hear you say your belly too big and you need to get fit? You have to go out by the DJ in order to do it? You say that you want to get slim. How come you're telling me the DJ? What are you telling me the DJ Jim? Party's over. Party's over. You're hungry and you have no place to live. You have no cooking. Go up in the DJ kitchen. The party's over. Party's over. Mr. DJ, this party is a party for poor people. No, that kind of music is when the poor people can't dance that. Alright, it's just about 1 now. And your license said that you're supposed to go until 4. What paper should you need? Oh, you're supposed to go until 5. Alright, I'm giving you until 5, but after 5, make sure you play good music. That we stop this party. You're here about telling me because we can't take it. Alright. Look, the party's over. The party's over. For that to make me cry, took me eye, and then dry it with just mama guy. The party's over. The party's over.
Show your body is in the line. Hold on, up style. Though the music change, no one complaining. I could feel the pressure the young man digging. If you see the lady, she miniskirt. And the way she whining the white Gilbert, jumping and shouting. As long as you're in the party, I come in. What you say? As long as you're in this party, I come in. All you have to do is hold on to wine. You ain't leaving me behind. Make sure your body is in the line. Hold on, wine, 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 wine.
I'm just practicing to be a poet. Not qualified as yet, but have no fear. I'm gonna get there. I'm not in this world to live up to your expectation. Neither are you in to live up to mine. I don't owe no one, no obligation. No one knows me none, so everything is fine, fine. As I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. Serious business. There is a time for everything, and for everything there is a season. So man and man must reason. So I think it's prime time that we address some no issues. Simple information I will use. No rocket science to get you confused. So relax your mind, make sure everything is fine while I take you down a poetic line. Cause we campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. I remember you say Liberation Day, and I ask, you sure is that you wanna say? Cause it sounded so good to believe. And deception is a powerful thing when you lose your rightful thinking. So we voted for the bling. But you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Yellow, yellow all the way is what everybody say. Cell phone ring, man answering. Yellow, yellow, no hello. Teeth get yellow, house get yellow, bus get yellow, man get yellow, even green get yellow, and so says 11-4. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Old school parables say you know what you have, but you don't know what to go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what on earth lasts forever? Not even things created by the great Jehovah. So the green grass ceased to grow to allow the yellow vibes to flow. But boy, one song I sing, one bell I ring. If we didn't know, we never know yellow would have treated us so. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. They began with the blame game, giving NNP more fame. Past administration, the cause of frustration. Past administration, chief of corruption. Then to economic recession, we can't give you attention. Economic recession, the cause of poverty in the land. Economic recession, no employment for the ordinary man. When you you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. You now refrain. All your projects are stuck in a pipeline. But when asked, how is the country going? Oh, fine. We are looking into it. Never mind. Only projects in pipeline. No water to cool down the yellow temperature. When will they start? Please answer that. Oh, soon. Maybe by the next full moon. Although things are turning at a very slow pace, we now run the race. 5 years is a lot of space. It's just a few hungry people in a place and a few disgruntled grim people with their vexed face. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. Busy governing, busy managing, busy politicking, busy neglecting, busy inflicting poverty and hunger throughout Grenada. 1,000 Frenchmen can never be wrong, but you hold your yellow conviction strong. So why not send them advisors home? They're sucking money like water in foam. And rehire the Imanis, less stress on the economy. You and Manchester, hold up the country. You didn't see us down on the bureau when they sent SSU to beat we. Trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. So we've heard about your internal division, but some can't digest that one. Remember the man say he's an asset to the party? And will we vote you without him? You left him with Glenn alone. Maybe they cloned. And however, I foresee a pretensive unity that will mislead a lot just before the next ballot. But you guys will have to come real good, cause it's a long time Grenada ain't eat a food. You think politicians will trick us with campaign promises? We won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. You remember in the Bible, God had a plan for Jonah to restore Nineveh. But who will restore Grenada? Is it the same Jonah? Lots of doubt, so I'm running up my mouth. And I'm counting no chicken before the hatch. Politicians sometimes form a crooked badge. After they get the vote, they not sing one note. But here comes Fort Judy and Nancy Payne, with $1 million house and brand new car on the scene, while our hungry belly still grumbling. And you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. So yellow people say, next election not me staying that finger, cause after we say enough from Jonah, here comes still with more pressure and hunger. And from the mouth of Grenada, only one thing I utter: the Congress neglect us, the Congress fail us. And I could never understand the distribution of the wealth. So drink your bush home if you want good health. And for real, we appreciate the free barrel, but they only come in December. So what we are doing from January to November? Suck salt and drink Nawasa water. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. By the way, what will be your theme for the next campaign? It can never be about change again. And in what language are you going to tell people to vote for NDC? In Japanese or Chinese? You better wrap up $1,000 in yellow jerseys for we, or give us everything free as in the days of NNP, or else funeral for NDC. Whatever, Grenada still belongs to we. Although nothing affects us negatively, we are still blessed by the Almighty. This poem may not be liked by you, but I know you will like this poem, for this poem is a problematic poem. Trick us with campaign promises, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain. You now refrain.
And Good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'm here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. Now, 9 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada. Yeah, so we're not sticking. We have to get with it, eh? Just letting you know, we will have a guest on the line with us from roughly about 8:30. I did promise you I will have a guest on with me tonight. Also seeking to have one on tomorrow night, but I'm leaving that one open. Let's see what comes out from Parliament tomorrow. Yeah, but should have a guest on with us tomorrow night as well. Saying a special good night to each and every one of you joining us via 91.9, 91.5 Real FM. Those of you joining us via 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn. You can also find them online, We Noise Radio, yeah. Noise is spelled N-O-Y-Z in his case, eh? Right, nice. Good night to you, Zayla. Good night to you, Zoe. Good night to you, Xalia. I would not like to see it in the interest. Sandra, good night. Because there is the one I see keep on owning. Once it once keep on sprinting. To those of you joining us on YouTube, can't go through the full thing tonight, but just a special good night to all of you joining us on the YouTube. I see you all out in your numbers. And to the Facebook crew, a special good night to you all as well. I can see the price keep going up on the 4-1 and the riches. I can men that believe, and like no one they can break it, so they condemn me. You see, a special good night to my lovely cousin Margaret. Good night to you and your husband, the entire home circle. I know the grand probably have you busy. Gemlin, Millie, Auntie Sylvie, good night to all of you. Ras Ira, I know you're listening, man. Uncle Ba, good night. Auntie Doreen, good night to you. Yeah, 11 minutes. Yeah, before we bring on the guests, let me just run through one or two things here. And let me just stop my music in the background because I hearing it still. You all wouldn't hear it, but I'm hearing it still. Yeah. I want to know what's really going on with the Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation. I mean, I've been hearing several resignations from that ministry. Remember, this is a new ministry that was created after the National Democratic Congress came to office last year. It's a new ministry, but I find I've been hearing if it's not project officers and also what's really going on within that ministry. I heard as early as late as Friday, I heard secretary gone, project officers gone, all different things. What's really taking place within that ministry that is causing this exodus of people? Because some people say the ministry like it turned to hotspot because people who was in hotspot, yeah, they're no longer in hotspot. They come in and they're working in ministry in senior positions and so large salaries, all sorts of things. Yeah, salary, they never seen hotspot, they seen it over there. Those kind of things we're hearing about. So we want to know what is taking place with that ministry. Yeah, that's the Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation, MIT. Yeah, Minister Andy Williams, your ministry. Why you keep having these resignations? One of these resignations I'm hearing is an individual who, I know I see this person all over the place with you. I saw this person on stage with you at the campaign. I saw the person up and down all over, left, right, center, campaigning. And now I hear the person was in the ministry, they're gone. I hear the secretary gone. I hear this one gone, that one gone. Over the past few months, several people have been exiting that ministry. In fact, I hear it have another senior person within that ministry to go by. Yeah, that one mightn't be that one doing. That one might be from higher up than even you, Andy. Why that person may be leaving that particular ministry. So what is taking place within that ministry that is causing this exodus of people that is taking place? I mean, yeah, all you don't want to give the list of who is working there and the salaries and that kind of thing, because I don't know why you're afraid. You don't want to do that. But we're hearing people just going from the ministry, and I want to know why that is taking place. Yeah, really and truly.
Every day when I make a pass by the shop, I could see the price keep going up on the 4-1 spot. And the wages, like it's basement that believes, and like no one they can break it, so they condemn me. Because every day when I make a pass by the shop, I could see the price keep going up.
Also, I want you all to know that Grenada is due to host a very important meeting, and I'm going somewhere with this. I want you all to pay particular attention. In the same way that I want you all to go onto the YouTube now, if you are not yet subscribed, to subscribe. We need you to subscribe, yeah? So subscribe. If you're not yet subscribed, you're on YouTube, and you have not yet clicked the subscribe button and the notification button next to it, you see a thing look like a bell? You have to click on that as well as subscribe so that you would get the notifications when we go live. But outside of that, those of you on Facebook, yeah, make sure and like and follow the page and share. All right, and like the program, right? Nice. I want to see us get up to 100 within the next few minutes. Let's see if we could get it up to 100. Let me see, we at 47. Let me see if we could get past that. That's on YouTube. So let's see if we could get past that there. I'm only seeing 18. Come on. Well, no, it's 4, 18. What is that? Can't make out the amount here. Let's see if we could get over that on the Facebook as well. Come on, mouse. Why are you behaving like that tonight? Yeah. So Grenada is hosting, and I'm trying to get it up here because my mouse has decided to play footsie with me tonight. Grenada will be hosting the second Heads of Government meeting on climate change. The government of Grenada will host the second Heads of Government meeting on climate change from 28th to the 29th, over 2 days, of September 2023 at the Crown Ballroom at the Radisson Beach Resort. And right, so an invitation is extended to cover the right eyes for the media and thing, right? So the ceremony, the open ceremony, 1.5 hours and thing, right? So Grenada is hosting that particular meeting, the second Heads of Government meeting on climate change here in Grenada. Now, some of my sources have picked up, some of my sources have said to me, one of the things that will be coming up at that meeting, and I want you all to listen very carefully, one of the things that will be coming up at that meeting is a proposal by Japan to dump their radiated water in the Caribbean Sea. Let me say that again. A proposal is being put forward by the government of Japan. Yes, the same people that just give the boat for the sargassum and them kind of thing there. Yeah, in other words, the people who get the boat to clean up the seaweed, right. They are putting forward a proposal to the various Caribbean leaders, the ministers of the environment and the climate, who are most likely are the ones, I mean, the heads of government ain't coming down for that. Most likely you have the different ministers coming for that one, the climate and environmental ministers. And we know we barely have one in Grenada here. But anyway, so the Japanese government is putting forward a proposal for their nuclear plant wastewater. And recently in the news, you definitely heard, if you've been listening to international news, the concerns because they did release some of that water outside of Japan itself, and several of the countries in the Pacific Rim there have been complaining in relation to that. Now, there is a proposal that is going to be coming on the table there at that meeting, asking Caribbean governments to allow Japan to dump their irradiated water, in other words, the water from their nuclear plant, to dump it in the Caribbean Sea. I don't know why. Look where Japan is. Look where the Caribbean is. But Japan want to leave over where they are and come over where we are. Let me say it properly because we have children listening. Next thing they start to talk, them kind of thing. Japan wants to leave where they are and come over to where we are to dump their radiation water in our waters. Well, them Japanese are crazy. But you know what I want to hear? I definitely want to hear what Grenada's government is saying in relation to this issue. Good night to you, Joyce. I definitely want to hear what Grenada's government, and in particular, our Ministry of Climate Resilience and whatever else they have it there. Yeah. We want to hear what that ministry, what the minister in particular has to say in relation to this issue. Yes, so media friends, at tomorrow's state opening of Parliament, I am pretty sure that you will have the opportunity to corner said minister and ask said question. Because from what I am hearing, there is a proposal that will be coming up at that meeting by the government of Japan to take the water from their nuclear plant and dump it in the Caribbean. I don't know why they can't dump it in their water. What is wrong with the Japanese waters that you can't dump it there? Yeah? You're leaving that side of the earth and you want to come over to this side of the earth. You ain't asking America to dump it there. They ain't asking South America to dump it in their waters. They ain't asking Central America. They ain't asking Europe. But they want to come in the Caribbean and ask us to dump their radiation water. They rude, they out of place, and they fast. And I know if it had been the new National Party in office, definitely they're getting told no. I ain't know for this government because we know these people that do all kind of weird things. So we know. So you want to hear directly before said meeting takes place on the 28th and the 29th. We want to hear Grenada's position on this. And we want to hear it from the minister responsible. Yeah, we want to hear Grenada's position on this. Right? Because you ain't want to hear that Grenada say yes and this country's no. We want to get straight up because the only answer is only one answer we want to hear, you know. Right? And we want to hear from Grenada's Minister of Climate Resilience and the Environment and so on. What is Grenada's stance on the proposal by Japan? Because they just get a vote from them, eh? So you know what taking place, you know what kind of funny thing does take place because you just hear people fund campaign and then you just hear all kind of thing afterwards. So we ain't taking chance. We ain't taking chance, right? Because people just bring case against Grenada that the people know they're going to end up losing and all kind of thing. And then Grenada does say, hey, we sorry and give them people money and thing. So we ain't taking chance. We want to hear from this administration definitely that Grenada will not be in any way, form or fashion accepting that. Don't be disrespectful to ever ask us that question again. Take all your water and anyway, we can't say that to our children listening. Right? Nice. But definitely, we need to have a response on this because there's no small issue, no minor issue and thing. We hear that the meeting is taking place here. And by the end of the day tomorrow, by the time the news cycle comes around tomorrow night, I believe Grenadians, each and every one of us locally, regionally, and internationally, whether it's my good friends Patricia and Matthew out there in Canada, and my good friend Ian out there in Canada, right? Whether it's them, or my good friends in North Carolina, or my friends out there in Maryland, or my friends out there in Florida, or whichever part of the New York State, tri-state area, whichever part of New York State you are, yes, we need an answer in relation to this. All right? Because we're hearing that they're going to be coming to come and dump their water in our neck of the woods. They want to come and they're asking the permission. And definitely, I know one or two regional leaders already, and I know I could tell you, I know a few prime ministers, and I know their answer in relation to that. But I ain't taking chance, because down here, you was hearing that a certain political party was getting funding from people, and you was hearing all kind of talk out there about money past the political party for campaign, and then that organization who they say passed the money. That is the allegation. You hear that allegation that that party get money from that organization. And next thing you see people who was working with that organization on a committee to make a decision in relation to that organization and if they should get money. So I want to take chance. I want a direct answer from Minister Karine James in relation to this issue of whether or not Grenada supports Japan. Don't wait until no meeting. We don't care about that. We want to know before. Because we want to know if we had to come down and picket the place. So we want to know before. Yeah? If Grenada will be giving any consideration. And we said we don't trust all you. So we have to ask the question. We don't trust. We ain't going to just say, well, we government ain't going to do that. We would, I think, all would not give $22 million to some people that pay 18 million EC. All wouldn't give them 22 million US. We'd think that, but then all do different. Yeah? So we want to know what is taking place with that one. Nice. Just putting that out there. We want to know what's taking place with that. Nice. No, my friends, I seen somebody say that have to be a prank. No, that's serious business, you know, yeah. I know, no joke. No, Japan want the opportunity to come and dump their nuclear waste in the Caribbean. Yeah, and they're asking the governments to allow them that, yeah. And we know the group of people we're dealing with. Yeah, they just get a boat from same Japan, so we know the group of people we're dealing with. Yeah, we know. True Blue Development, we see what happened. So we have to ask the question and we have to hold them to it. We want to know Grenada's position on this, yeah? Trinidadians could ask Trinidad position on it. Jamaicans could ask Jamaica position on it. All the islands could ask their people. We are asking our country's representatives their position in relation to this issue.
I could see the price keep going up on the poor ones back and the wages like a that believe and like no one they can break it.
As I said, we ain't dealing with a normal set of people. We're dealing with a set of people here that do some kind of weird thing. So we have to ask the relevant questions, yeah? So, folks, as I've been saying too, we're going to have a guest on with us. I'll have to be calling them here. So they're going to be on with us at 8:30. I'll have to get them the call. They're going to be on via the phone. The Zoom is not on tonight.
I know some of you will not like my Calypso because of opportunity. But I do know the time will come when you yourself will recognize what I am doing towards the poor ones. So I do hope this message will go through.
Let me say a very special night to Mrs. Imelda Charles up there in Windsor Forest.
So that they can see the needs of the poor ones.
Mrs. Charles, oh!
Something coming from the man of...
Hope you're having a wonderful night tonight, my dear. To my good friend I met at the mall today. I know that you're listening. Oh, let's see here. What you hear? Yeah. Just check Linda in the mall in Bruce Street Mall. Just check her. No. I find them. Listen, Grenada respects every country and so on, but I find that disrespectful. You can't come and ask us a question to come and dump. Come on, which country? I mean, come on, man. But I'm putting it past. You see, we deal with a group of people here. You can't put it past them, so we have to ask a question. We can't just take it as they ain't go do that kind of thing. Durity, good night to you, bro. Kathy Pope. Kathy Albert. That's how to call the Kathys and them. Zingo, good night to you as well.
I would not like to see it in the interest of the rich ones. Because
we want an answer by the end of the day tomorrow. The minister will be attending Parliament tomorrow. My media friends, my media colleagues, yeah? Even my media haters. I don't have haters. I don't study this thing. Just can't be haters. I don't believe in that, right? But all of you, please take the time and ask the minister when the opportunity avails itself, what is going to happen with this issue. Because you see, before we had people that represented Grenada like Mr. Simon Steele. He's in charge of climate change and all this kind of thing now with the United Nations, in charge of all of that. And it is because he performed so well. And remember, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, he was also the lead in relation to small island development states and so on, and was the one speaking on climate change and so all this. So Grenada was leading on these issues. And as such, a very strong message has to be sent to the Japanese to don't ever think of disrespecting us to come with a proposal like that again. Not in we Caribbean. But again, as I say, I can't trust, because we don't have strong people there. Yeah, we just hear about people talking about bill and they ain't about one for 40,000 US anyhow. But we have some people there who not in the level of Mr. Simon Steele. And so, in that ministry before, who used to go out there and get all kind of funding for whether it's a water project or whether it's a solar project and these kind of things. Geothermal, all, you don't have that caliber of people. So we want to make sure, yeah, listen, I have friends who are ministers out there, that just talk when meetings take place, and you want to hear what some of them saying. I wouldn't repeat it, I just have to defend them. Because at the end of the day, we might talk, we think here. When I go out there and anybody try to bad talk, nah, defending, you can't bad talk my Grenadian minister out there. I quarreling, I fighting with you. It's problems. But when we here, I dealing with them in the realistic way. Yeah? So you want to get an answer on that particular one. So let me see if I can get let me see if I can get my guest online. Yes, indeed, folks. And as promised, I do have a guest on with me tonight. So nobody call the line. Right now, we're talking things here, right? So they don't call the line. Afterwards, later, I'll go open the phone lines. I do have on the phone line with me Mr. Oliver Joseph. A special good night to you, sir.
Good night to you, Sheldon, and all your, and good night to you and all your listeners. And keep up the good work. You have been doing an excellent job keeping the nation informed. And I am pleased to be on your program tonight.
And thank you so very much for making the time. Mr. Joseph, we're getting right into. I was just talking of foreign affairs one day. In fact, before I go on to the substantive issues that we want to discuss tonight, the Japanese government, we're hearing that the forum that's coming up this week here in Grenada, a proposal will be on the table for them to be allowed to dump nuclear waste in the Caribbean waters. What say you in relation to something like that? Hello?
It tells you how Japan feels. That's all. No, because Japan has a right to ask any question, any country or group of countries, if they to give them permission to dump anything. It is the countries they are asking. These are the countries that must stand up to Japan or any other country for that matter, and let them know clearly what is the position of the government. And so I am not worried about Japan asking. They know my concern. Japan could ask for anything. Mm-hmm. My concern is your response. Mm-hmm. Your response, especially, listen, in diplomacy, you have to know how to deal with certain issues. I'll give you a simple example. I attended a meeting with the Saudis. Dr. Mitchell could not make it. And we were discussing with them a loan agreement. And the interest rate was 6%. And the period, the grace period was almost 2 years. And I called Dr. Mitchell and I said, look at what they're offering. He said, well, Joe, you don't have to consult me. I said, no. Grenada is accepting no loan for 6%. Because we could get money from the World Bank at 0.75%, 10 years grace period, and 40 years to repay. So just tell them that we're not interested. You see, when you have a government that has set policies, and all ministers sitting in cabinet know the policies of the government, it becomes very easy to represent your country, you know. Because you know the policies of the government. And we turned down the loan and we got the money from the World Bank. You know? So I said it is the government policy that will be tested. And as you say, let us see what will be the response.
Yeah, and I think the Grenadian people deserve to know, even before that meeting, what the response shall be. I think it's kind of, it's a worrying one. Considering recent trends, it's a worrying one to us. It's a worrying one.
Well, why is it worrying? Because Japan could ask for anything. Or
it's worrying to me.
So, well, listen, you want a response from the government. What is worrying, what will be worrying to me is the response. That will be my worry.
Well, no, that's the part, you know. Not that Japan is asking. That's the part to me. Because we are seeing trends with this administration. Oh dear, and it seems as though we've lost Mr. Joseph. Let's see if we can get him. Yeah, let me see if I can get him back there.
Cause manufacturing weapons is on the increase. We don't want barbarism in the world no more. So we send the young men to fight the war. How can we achieve peace and tranquility in the land with aggression? Oh, gee.
Yes, indeed. So we've got Mr. Joseph back on the line with us. Sorry about that one, sir. I'm not sure what happened there, but it cut off. Yeah. So, yeah, and I think that's the thing. We're seeing certain trends taking place right now where the government seems to make some decisions that defy logic and common sense. And as such, we have to ask of them, what will your response be? We're waiting until the meeting to hear it. We want to know now. Because we need to know if we have to go and pick it on the days of the meeting in relation to that one.
No, but based on the way they operate, based on the way this government operates, you would not get the answer before the meeting.
We demanding one? Let it go with us now.
Where you could demand anything you want. I heard the opposition in Parliament asking all the right questions, but they're not getting no answer. In Parliament, you know.
Yeah.
You're not getting no answer.
Let us see how this one develops.
Yes, let's try it develop, yes.
Let's move to before we go to the main one. I want to deal with the issue of minimum wage. You've heard the government's proposal. I think you've probably seen the figures that they've put forward.
Oh yes.
In relation to minimum wage. Your thoughts on what they've put forward, your thoughts on the process, your thoughts on what the likely outcomes are as an economist yourself, a person who deals with economics and so on yourself.
Yeah, well, firstly, there are a number of variables that you must take into consideration. Let me make it simple. Let me not use too much economic language.
Mm-hmm.
you need to take into consideration the present state of the economy. So if the economy is sluggish, that means you have little or no growth and high inflation and high unemployment. You have to take all these factors into consideration in when you're making a decision to increase minimum wage. Nothing wrong in increasing minimum wage, so let me say that quite early. But the context in which you're going to do it and the various sectors, and I will explain that later. I see in some areas you have as much as 100% increase. I don't know how much attention you pay to the percentages, but I look to the percentages.
Caregivers is 100%, yeah. I think that one would be caregivers, I think.
Yes, right. You have two areas. You're caregivers. That's right. Caregivers, yes. Yeah. You have others, but caregivers, 100. And then you have 75, 60%. Now, you have to be careful how you implementing these increases. In an economy where unemployment is at that so high, at 30%, if you set the minimum wage too high at one time, in other words, you're recommending 100%, but you want to implement it one time. So from the 1st of January, it will increase by 100%. Whereas you could have taken a phased approach to see how the sectors respond and businesses respond. So you, for example, with the 100% increase, you could say from January 2024, we'll increase it by 50%, and let us see how businesses react to that. And then the next year, you add an additional amount. So incrementally, you do it. But in this report, you are going to the 100% straight. No. If you're a business and you have wages and salaries increasing by such amount without the business's performance increasing to cover the cost, what will happen is that the business will hire less and less people, because wages and salaries account for a large percentage of your recurrent expenditure. It's very simple. And so if you increase the company's recurrent expenditure, it means you are reducing the profit at the end of the year. Some of them might run into arrears, deficit, because of the wage bill. And therefore, you impose on a sector like that a 100% or 75% or 60% increase, because these businesses, if they reduce on the workforce, then they increase the unemployment rate in the country. And therefore, I think the government still have time to consider whether or not these increases will go into effect from the 1st of January as proposed. Because I can see businesses cutting or not hiring new workers as a result of these increases. And I think there's something they should understand. So that is I would like to, that's my initial reaction to the minimum wage.
Well, how will this affect government's payments as well? Governments, when it comes to paying salary, because they'll also be affected by this. This is not just the private sector. This is government as well. In the instances of caregivers, many of them do work through the government service. This is going to affect the monthly wage bill in a significant way. So how does that affect government at the end of the day? How do you perceive that it will be affecting government?
Well, it will increase the wage bill.
Mm-hmm.
It will increase the government. If the government have certain workers that they will have to give the 100% increase to, so obviously the government wage bill will also increase. But you see, unlike the private sector, the government has the ability to raise taxes to meet the recurrent expenditure. Unlike the private sector does not have that ability to do it. So the private sector is the one that will feel the burden of these increases.
So there is a situation, therefore, that if the government is unable to meet its obligations, we may find ourselves having to pay more taxes. That's a possibility. Hello?
Well, government have that government has that ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the government have that ability to vary taxes at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And because I believe that in the new budget you may see some increases. Already the Inland Revenue has announced that there will be increases in property tax, Did you hear that?
I did not hear that one yet, but
yes, that a senior tax official in Inland Revenue Department is on the newspaper, is on the release, already announced that they have done a re-evaluation of property and that there will be an increase in property tax. He said that.
So at least that's one category.
But that's coming from your servant.
Wow.
No, we had to see when the government announced the increase in property taxes, how it is done, how it's structured, whether how much it will be increased by. But remember this government increased tax on sugar, Well, they have a government that increased tax on sugar. Why property to increase tax on?
Well, you do have a point.
So I'm saying that so you can expect anything in this budget coming, and then we expect the drop in CBI revenues, where they will have to look at other areas to fulfill it to get the revenue.
And that brings me to my next question. Because I've said it here on the program before, but I'll ask you now. Should the approach of the government be that parallel to looking at increasing salaries, they also look at lowering the cost of living? Because we see inflation taking over in every area. Whether you're talking utilities, food, medicine, all of these areas, and pretty soon it looks like probably even the cost of transportation, that you're seeing inflation taking over and these things, the prices increasing, and way above what people are working for right now. Should the approach be parallel to looking at increasing salaries, that you try to lower the cost of living than allowing the inflation to run away?
Well, except you introduce the cost of living allowance, you introduce that because, well, like Trinidad, well, you know it better than me. At one time, Trinidad had cooler cost of living allowance.
I was writing in copybook them days. I know about them thing.
Yeah, which the union asked, negotiated with the government for, and said, well, the cost of living is affecting our disposable income, and therefore we need a cost of living allowance. And the government did introduce it. But the first thing the government did when the oil revenues fell was to remove the cost of living allowance. The government need to take measures that will cushion the effect of inflation. The fiscal policy should address the current high cost of living, because every time you go to the supermarket, or well, look at gas price now, it gone $16.88. It was capped at $15 under the NMP. The cap was removed, you know.
Yeah.
And they promised that they will do better with the gas price than capping it at 15. And yesterday when I went to the gas station, it was $16.88. You know, because of the heat, I usually put on my AC. But you know when you're using AC, you're burning more gas, right?
Yes, of course. You're burning a lot more.
A lot more. So today I had to reduce the use of my AC, you know, because of the price, the gas rate, the high cost, and that will have a ripple effect on the economy, the high price for gas. So I hope that in the new budget, the government will come with some measures that will deal with the high inflation, the high cost of living in Grenada.
Is there a measurement that they can use in relation to that? Why I'm asking this question is because, as it is, the increasing salaries, you also have NIS increasing, the amount that people are going to be having to pay in NIS. You've just mentioned that when it comes to property tax, which is something that I'm learning now was included in the 2023 budget, the revaluation exercise. So the values of the properties on island increase, and that has increased the tax collected by it. So we are in a situation where you have these increases taking place. Is there some way that government can create that balance to ensure that whatever increases people are real? Because other than that, what you're going to find is a situation, people are getting increases, but is it a real increase except just in name? That you get a $10, but the cost of living increased by 20. Is there a measurement that they're going to use? Is there a methodology that they can use to safeguard the population?
All right. Well, the first thing in our economy, we use inflation, but inflation is measured by the consumer price index with a basket of goods that's outdated, that the government has to review. Nobody has confidence in the CPI, consumer price index, because the basket of goods has changed over the years, and what people going to the supermarket can see the increases. Now, there is something in economics called PPP, the purchasing power parity. What your dollar could give you now, what a dollar? The purchasing power of your dollar. So that's a measurement that's used, PPP, purchasing power parity. And inflation will cut into that, right? So what the government has to do is to, instead of increasing taxes on the people, is to see how efficient you can collect the present taxes. I recall the NDC saying we introduce all these taxes, and there is no need to introduce no new tax. That is what the campaign promises, you know. We have enough taxes in Grenada, and Grenada is overtaxed, and so we will not introduce any new taxes on the people, but we will ensure that we collect all the taxes. And instead, what is happening? You're seeing increases in taxes. Now, if you get that increase, what is important? You have a salary. So, is what we call your disposable income. You know? So if you walk in for $5,000 a month, so you pay 10% of the first $3,000 in tax, so $200 come out. Because between 3 and 5, right, 2,000, you pay 10,000 on that, 10% on that, so that's $200. And then you pay 28% above that, right? So if you on paper, right, is your nominal income, or your real or disposable income, or your take-home pay, is affected by the amount of taxes that is on it. And as you mentioned before, you have taxes plus you have NIS contribution to make, right? You have other fees and dues that you must pay on it. So you have to, is how much money you're taking home at the end of the day. That is important. It's not just your salary, your gross salary, and therefore the government needs to consider the impact of the fiscal measures on workers' disposable income. That is what is necessary.
Of course. All right, folks, and for those of you just joining us, we're speaking with my good friend, Mr. Oliver Joseph. And indeed, we're speaking here a little bit about the minimum wage. We have some other things to speak about that we're going to get into in the next few minutes, but just a little bit on the minimum wage. For private sector businesses, you've spoken about what they face come the 1st of January. It could mean layoffs in some instances. We've also seen that they would reduce, because I've seen before when businesses find challenges that they cut in different areas. So advertising, the media houses, the Real FM and the We FM and the GBNs and all of them, they usually cut the advertising budget. At one of the places they could cut easily. You're not spending 50,000, we're going to spend 10. So, and other areas. What are some of the other effects we may see on the private sector businesses? We've spoken about government and what that could cause for everyone. What about the private sector businesses?
No, as I mentioned, the private sector will be hard hit because they do not have the ability to increase the price of the commodity. Remember, we're in a competitive environment. So they will cut back on the staff. They cut back on all the advertisements. You will see a lot of cutbacks in various areas if the wage bill increase, because wages are a major area for businesses to meet. This recurrent wage bill every month that you must meet will determine the profitability of the company, and no company is operating without making a profit. They have to make their profit. So you have to send home workers, you have to cut back on the advertisement, they'll cut back in other areas, they will cut back. And that will not be a good situation to be in the economy where unemployment would rise. So that is why I made a recommendation that I think it should be a phased approach to implementing the minimum wage.
And then remember, these businesses, they also, and one of the listeners have mentioned this, if the property prices, the property tax is going to increase, you may very well see the owners of the property charging more in rent and that sort of thing as well. And it will affect the businesses as well.
Yes, of course. As I said, that statement was made by a senior tax officer in Inland Revenue. I have not heard the government stating that they will increase property tax. What they did announce is that there will be a re-evaluation of property. The officer said the re-evaluation has been completed and that there will be an increase in property tax. That was a statement made by the senior tax officer in Inland Revenue.
Indeed. Mr. Joseph, it's just about 9 o'clock, and I want to change gears here onto another issue because I think people pretty much understand now what's going on with minimum wage. And I want to talk about the issue of the Kimpton by Kawana project, the arbitration, and what has been taking place with the government now announcing that they're going to be paying $22 million to the developers. And various statements that they've been making, giving the impression that it's only $22 million that's going to be paid out. That's it. The government of Grenada has to pay nothing else. Your views on what has been said over the past couple of weeks in relation to this issue, your opening views.
So the government has engaged the developer, and an agreement was reached not to proceed with the arbitration. Remember, it was not NNP government that took the matter to arbitration, it was the developer. The government reached an agreement with the developer not to pursue the arbitration. What the government then moved to do is acquire the property. Compulsory acquisition. So acquire it. Now, if the government acquire any property, then the government must pay compensation. That is clear in law. And the compensation amount could be challenged in court, in local court, you know. Yeah, it could be challenged. So, in this situation, the government has announced that 22 million US, and it's good to use the denomination you're talking about. So the settlement is to pay 22 million US to the developer. The developer paid $6.7 million for the property. Well, of course, a lot of work went into it. And it's a CBI project. What the question the Grenadian public is asking, why is it that government paying the investors, the people who invest into the property, because they made an investment. You only get a return on your investment when the business is operational. Now, so the hotel is not completed. So if the decision is to refund them the money that they paid, whether it's 220,000 US or 350, there is no reason to refund that money. No reason to refund the money. You invest it, and the government have said that they're looking for a new developer to continue, and the new developer take on the liability, and will talk to the investors, the CBI investors, into the project, and they will work an arrangement of how they will get the return on the investment. But to say you refund it, I'm not sure I understand clearly why the government has to do that. So, secondly, the question that I'm confronted with every day is, why is it that these investors are keeping their passports even if they get back? Well, that's not how the system operates. Let me explain how it operates. It's citizenship by investment. So you get you make an investment, and you get citizenship. You're issued a citizenship certificate stating that you're a citizen of Grenada. You use the citizenship certificate and apply for a passport, because only citizens of Grenada can hold a Grenada passport, regardless whether it's by registration, citizenship, by investment, or whatever. So you cannot take back the passport with the person holding a citizenship certificate of Grenada. What grounds you will use? Unless you revoke the citizenship. Because remember, these people are citizens of Grenada by investment. So they, just like how if you're a citizen by registration and you're holding your registration certificate, the citizenship will have to be revoked. And you have to have grounds for revoking the citizenship. So you cannot request the passport back. As simple as you cannot request. You see, it makes it look like, well, as people say, we were selling passports. They forget the part about you have to first become a citizen. So you are selling passports for, say, 220 US. And I give you back the 220 US, then you must give me back the passport. But that is not what is happening. You get citizenship. You're a citizen of Grenada.
But let me ask this question though. Let's say, okay, they're getting to keep the passports. Why are these, and we're speaking roughly here about 214 individual investors. From listening to Mr. Richard Duncan, these people will be repaid, refunded their money, although what the Prime Minister was saying was slightly different. But from what we were hearing from Mr. Richard Duncan, these individual investors who bought into the project, we're not speaking about True Blue Development Limited and the $22 million now, that these people, that the process was that the property would be evaluated and these people had shares in the property and they would be reimbursed their money. That is what he was saying on that program with Dr. Bob that you were on.
Well,
but we're hearing slightly different from the Prime Minister now.
Well, I don't know why you have to reimburse. That is what I was explaining. I was explaining that there is no need to refund the money that these people invested in the business, in the hotel. There's no need to do that. You make an investment and you hope to get a return on your investment when the hotel becomes operational. And then you're seeking a new investor to take over the project. Let the new investor have a discussion with the people who bought shares into the hotel. Not the government taking taxpayers' money and giving them back. You don't need to do that.
I just want to make it clear though to all of the listeners that this money to these investors is separate from the 22 million US that we were speaking about otherwise.
Oh, yes, of course.
So, and you could be speaking well over 56 million US in fact, because you're speaking 250 per person, 250,000 at least. Some were 350,000 at the old scale. So you're speaking at least 56 million or more?
Yes, yeah. Well, if you give it back everybody who put money into it, it will run into millions of dollars because the 22 million is for the developer. So that's why I'm using the word the developer.
Yeah.
So to clear it, to make the difference between the persons who bought into the project. The developer. The developer will be paid 22 million US according to the government. And those people who bought shares or bought into the project will be refunded. I still think the government needs to come and clarify that, because I don't understand why you want to give back this supply money. And as the people say it all over the place, you give them back the money and they have the passport, because they cannot just take back the passport. So that is a situation that needs to be clarified, because it will, the money will be taxpayers' money that we use it to do that. So why are you using taxpayers' money to refund these people who bought into the project?
And these people could have simply, as you mentioned a couple times before, they could have just been carried over to whoever the new investor is, and that new investor would have then negotiated with them if they want to get out of it, if they want to stay into it, whatever. But that should have just been carried over to the new investor, whoever the new investor or investors are.
Yeah. Yeah, and they negotiate. Yeah, if they want to get out or if they want to remain, they negotiate what return they will be looking for, or if they want to pull out, how much the new investor will have to pay them to pull out. So I think we need to get some more information and greater clarity on that matter.
Of course. And government took that decision based on the recommendations of a committee that they would not be moving forward with a defense on the arbitration, that they would settle. In your view, knowing what you know of the case from Grenada's perspective, even from the company's perspective, how do you perceive what the case was based on? Was the case based on anything solid?
Well, yes, we think as the government at the time that we had a very good case, and that we could have won the matter in arbitration, and we were prepared to pursue the arbitration, to go to the arbitration tribunal, because we had all the audits done. We had accountants involved, forensic audit completed, and we were satisfied that if we went to arbitration, that the arbitration will rule in favor of the government. And so we were prepared to pursue it. A new government come with a different view and says, well, they don't think that the government could win that case. So let's talk to the developer and settle the matter. That is completely within the government prerogative. They think that they didn't have a chance, and they're going to pay off the developer and refund money. That is a decision the government has reached, different from our position, and they will have to explain that to the people.
Now, we also have a situation where the CBI committee, a member who is sitting on that committee, a member of the board of directors, is directly employed with that same company, the company that took Grenada to court. We also have the representative, another person who was on that board of directors, the subcommittee that made the decision not to go forward with the case is Mr. Henry Joseph, who was the person that did the audit on behalf of the company that was presented, that you mentioned there, the audit that was presented, that was done by Mr. Henry Joseph and the company he's associated with. You also had there the chair being the person who was at one time the manager of the bank that company does all their banking with. In any other shade of light, does this thing not seem a little, I would like to use the word funny here, to you, but not in the ha-ha sort of way?
Well, when the Prime Minister was asked about conflict of interest in his very early days, he said his response was, in a small country like Grenada, where you must have conflict of interest is how you handle it. That was his response when he was asked about conflict of interest. So he doesn't see anything wrong with that, and the government does not see anything wrong with these things. So they could have the same lawyer that is working for the developer and the same lawyer working for government, and there's nothing wrong with that. So this was the decision is not surprising. It's not surprising. That's the government. You have to look here, listen to the government policy statement on these things. They say that there is nothing wrong with that. So that will be left up to the judgment of the Grenadian public.
Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, the Grenadian people, and I think that's what you were getting at earlier when you say some clarity needs to be given, there still is not a final figure as to how much has to be paid out at this point in time. And then government, according to what you have said before, government has also opened itself to further litigation here, because going to the investors now and saying, this is how much we're paying you based on the market value, these investors can gang up and decide, hey, we are not taking that, we want more, we're taking you to court.
Yeah, well, of course, yes, that's how it is in law. When you do compulsory acquisition, it says you must compensate, but you can always go to the local court and challenge the compensation. So we don't know where this will end. We do not know the final figure. So I hope our representatives in Parliament, that is the opposition side, will ask this question in writing so that we can get some response. Because when it is asked orally during the Parliament session, we don't get any response. It takes as a joke. So the opposition will have to put the questions in writing so that the public is informed.
Mm-hmm. Any final words on this particular issue of the Kimpton by Kawana? I call it a debacle because I just can't. For me, it's still confusing, even after listening over and over to the statements made by the Prime Minister, the statements made by the Attorney General, the statements made by the head of the CBI. It's still confusing to me how, and understanding as well the background that this came from. I think the company spent, roughly 18 million EC. They're getting 22 million US. And how a government could decide that, yes, we're going to pay that company the 22 million US and still pay the individual investors on top of that. It's confusing.
Well, listen, this government, like you talk about transparency, I hope they will be transparent with the Canadian public. Mm-hmm. And tell us the true cost, how much it costs for the settlement of the dispute, because there are too many questions that are unanswered. And the Grenadian public deserve to know the truth and deserve to know the true cost in this matter, because all the opposition was doing in Parliament was asking questions to get the information, and yet it was not forthcoming. So I hope we will get all the information so we could see closure to this matter and let the Grenadian public know the true cost of the settlement in this matter.
Now, Mr. Joseph, moving off of this issue, St. David, A place that is near and dear. I want to say near and dear to your heart. It's inside your heart. St. David is near and dear to your heart. It's inside your heart. What have you been hearing? What have the people been saying to you over the past few weeks and months? What have you been hearing from the people of St. David? It's been quite a while we speak about St. David.
Well, I'm glad you asked this question because in the last 6 months, in the first year, people were not coming out, or very few people were saying it, speaking out. But during the last 6 months, Ellen, people are coming out. People are speaking out of the way the government is treating people. It's amazing. People are looking around St. David now and saying, listen, the only successful CBI project was the 2 hotels brought to Las Angeles by the new National Party. The 6 census have been completed now, and they start interviewing people for employment. And the Intercontinental has started. That's the only 2 projects under CBI people could look to. The one in St. David. That's the one we just speak the with arbitration is incomplete. The one in
St. Patrick.
St. Patrick. Liver.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I would really like to see that project complete, Liver. But with the current situation, with the CBI, I am worried. But for the sake of Grenada, I would like to see we get this big project up there because it will create jobs for the people up there. It will contribute to economic development of the country. But right now, based on what is taking place with CBI, I am not optimistic. But coming back to St. David. So we have these 2 projects, the only successful, and everybody can go up there and look at 6 Senses Hotel now. The lighting of Las Angeles playing field, everybody going there now at night. That is something that the community wants for a long, long, long time. And they were promised that. Then the fire station. Every time you hear about a fire in St. David, people will call and say there is no fire tender and we need one. But if you should visit the facility to put the fire tender, the living quarters of the firemen and women, the area there, how it has been converted into a lovely facility. We have already ordered the fire tender for St. David.
Mm-hmm.
So the people are now coming to grips with all that was done in St. David. And people are calling me every day and said, look, when they are not getting assistance from the government, could I help? But I said, I am not employed, but I still have to reach out to help people.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen the continued situation with that, whether it's people who were under seed and no longer receiving assistance, or the book and uniform program. Now, St. David being St. David, roughly how many people you had under the uniform program in St. David and so on under some of these programs? I know you mightn't have exact figures right now.
Well,
But
some of my colleagues, and they will tell you that, ask any one of them. Every time St. David gets, say, they have to allocate. And my first line will be, well, St. David is the largest constituency, so they have to get the largest share. So St. David are the most people on seed, the most people. and on all the other programs. For the bathroom and toilet, where we are here in building bathroom and toilet for people. And that's a project I had dear to me because it was to eliminate completely street latrine, and that was closed down. The most students that got assistance to go to TAMCC and SD or something, David, as a constituency. People still remember, people meeting me all the time and said, because of you, I went to SD, you know. Because of me, I went to TAMCC, you know. Because the assistance of NNP during this time, people still talking about that. And I feel get a sense of reward because to see people advance educationally. Because I know that is what will help people come out of poverty. When they get the education. And therefore my emphasis was always on education and helping people lift the standard of living of the people in St. David. You know. And so I am very happy with what I did in my 9 and something years there. And my only concern now is that a lot of these programs have been stopped. You know, we had the bathroom and toilet brigade that closed down. Everybody sent home. Housing project closed down. People sent home. They closed down most of the programs. But for the poor people, you know, these are meant to help lift people, you know, out of poverty.
But let me ask this one. What about the bushing program? What existed before? What exists now? If I can ask you that, because you would definitely know what existed before. Because I know St. David's used to get the most gangs. So
Of course, the most gangs. Yeah.
What exists now?
No, they give 2 fortnights. They give for August. They give 2 fortnights. When we were there, August, you know, people had to go back, send the children back to school, and they were looking forward to this thing. We give 8 fortnights, you know. They give 2 fortnights with smaller gangs. At the time, we could not get men to do the debushing program because they were in construction. So most of the gangs are female. It is, you know. So people were working, they were earning, and that was the injection into the economy. And all the shops, all the small shops benefited, and the economy did well. Now, go around the country and talk to the small shops. Go and talk to the small shop owners. Nothing taking place. Nothing taking place. It seems that this government does not understand the importance of injecting money into the economy. We have special projects, debushing, housing brigade, toilet and bathroom brigade. All these are to create jobs, to have people spending in the economy. Now what? No spending taking place. I really hope for the Christmas season we will see an increase in the debushing program because it's a seasonal program. So when you hear them talking this nonsense about we making people depend, and this is a seasonal program, sometimes 3 times a year or twice a year, that people get to assist them, to assist their family. But that is not the interest of the government. They're not in the interest of the poor and working class. A government that understands the needs of the people will address that. But we are seeing the opposite. So I really hope that for the Christmas season we'll see a change And that after the next budget, we'll see the reinstatement of this bathroom and toilet brigade and housing brigade and these programs that we had reinstated to create jobs for the people. That unemployment is way too high in this country.
Indeed. You mentioned something a while ago, and I know I was hearing one particular government minister speaking about that recently, and that's the fire truck for St. David. I know that it takes a while for the fire trucks to be delivered because you order, they build to specifications. You don't just go and you say, well, I want a fire truck, and they send a fire truck for you. You say, I need a fire truck. These are the specifications, and they build it to suit. So that was taking place for the one for St. David. I've heard a certain MP in another constituency, well, Carriacou, saying that they've ordered truck for Carriacou as well, and that sort of thing. Could it be that they're speaking about the same set of trucks that were already ordered? Because I know it wasn't just one for St. David. It was a couple.
Well, I know we ordered fire trucks. I'm not aware that this government ordered fire trucks as well. But I could speak to our side, ordering the fire trucks. Yes, I know when it comes, they will take credit because it comes during their time.
Yeah.
And they don't give any credit to NNP. They will want to take all the credit. But the people in St. David City, they pass the area and see the new facility for the fire tender. So they might take credit for ordering the fire tender, but not for building the fire station. Because everybody could see it.
But you wouldn't build a fire station and you ain't order the tenders to put inside it. But I mean, at the end of the day, once the people of St. David benefit, I know that everyone will be proud and everybody would be happy. And that's the main thing. Any closing words to the Grenadian people, Mr. Joseph?
Yeah, sure. I just want to close by saying, do not lose hope. I know that you're suffering, you have a lot of complaints, but there is hope. Do not lose hope. And you could always count on the new National Party to support you. And therefore, we understand your plight, we understand what you're going through, but there is hope with the new National Party.
All right. We want to thank you so very much for taking time to have that conversation with us. You know, Joe is always somebody I could call on to have a conversation in relation to any issue, not just this issue, but any issue. I can call him to have a conversation in relation to this. So thank you so very much, sir, and do enjoy the rest of your night tonight.
All right, good. You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Folks, we were speaking there with Mr. Oliver Joseph. Yes, we were speaking to Mr. Oliver Joseph, the former MP for the constituency of St. David. Yeah, we were speaking to a good partner, Joe Dayman. Folks, we're going to open the phone lines for you. We've spoken about several things here, from people that want to dump radioactive waste in the water and asking us to come and dump it. They're brave. And we've spoken about the minimum wage, also spoken about the Kimpton Kiwana issue there. So the phone lines are open now, 440-7377. You can call us on WhatsApp. You can call us directly. You can also call us on 347-329-3101. That's 347-329-3101 for those of you out there in North America. So we're going to give you the opportunity to call and have your say in relation to any of these issues right about now.
But whoa, whoa,
I'm still trying to figure out that one. How could you have people who were involved with a company make and definitely you can't say that Grenada too small, and in this case we've got a call online. Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Jumping of the water in the Caribbean Sea could cause us to asking a question. It could cause a tsunami to
No. This is that.
Caribbean, no,
That one is not a cause of tsunamis. That doesn't cause tsunamis. No.
Okay,
But what it will do, it could poison. It could poison the waters.
Yeah.
It could poison the waters. That's what it could do.
Oh, it poisons the water. So then at the end of it, what happens to the fish?
Well, not just the fish. Everything. Everything in the water, including us.
So then the fishermen won't have a cash.
Well, we understand what the consequences of such an action are. What we are asking is, what is the view of the government of Grenada regarding this particular issue? We want to hear directly from them. We want to hear that they might, or we want to hear a strong statement from them in relation to this particular issue. Yeah? That's what we want to hear. All right, my friend? Hello? Okay, seems as though he's gone. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. And why is my phone line doing this? Yeah, behave yourself, phone line. Nice. You have to make sure everything working properly there. Right. So you can give us a call, 440, and you could call us on WhatsApp as well. Yeah. But definitely, I could tell you my view. I could tell you what the view of the New National Party would be in relation to this. Never, no, not at all. Right? Yeah. Never, no, and not at all. Could tell you what the view of the NNP could be in relation to that. We've got a call online. Good night.
Hey, Sheldon.
Yes, sir.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.
I have a big concern.
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing now that there's a lot of private vehicles, with this police light. The red and blue light, flashing light.
Yeah.
Right. I notice a lot of vehicles with this light all during the day. I like a driver now. Sometimes you're in traffic and you're seeing these vehicles coming down, and you're thinking it's police. So then, sometimes you want to give way, and very puzzling because you don't know if it's true police or if it's just thing. So I see a lot of vehicles with these flashing lights all during the day. So I really want the police to really check up on these things. I find there's a lot of slackness going on in Grenada. A lot of slackness.
Mm-hmm. What I would suggest, though, caller, is anytime you see that, take a note of the number and pass it on to the traffic department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Okay.
They would be able to ascertain as to whether or not that's one of their vehicles, as in a police vehicle, or if it is a civilian who is illegally utilizing such lights.
Yeah, because I've seen it all during the day. All during the day, sometimes at night, I've seen these flashing lights, and and they're not too sure if it's police or if it's just normal people. So it's kind of puzzling as a driver. You could probably meet an accident, because sometimes if it's a police, probably want to move out the guy thinking it's some emergency, or something like that.
I understand, and you're quite right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So I want the police to really check on these things.
No problem, caller. All right, thank you so very much.
Good.
Yes, indeed, yeah, and that's an important one. We've got a call online. Good night.
Good night, Sheldon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm quite fine.
Oh, great. Regarding the wage bill, which is just good, I support the rise of the salaries of our citizens, Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, the cost of living goes the same way. So when you put, figures together, it would not match up. Yes, there will be a talk that, the public, the wage bill has gone up and whatnot. But what the difference, we will not see it, because the cost of living is just too much. So if you're putting up the minimum wage, it is good. But at the same time, try to lessen the water and the electricity and the food input bill. When you really check out so much of the taxes, if people are given some break over that, all right, it will be better. Then you could see the rolling out of the money, or else you will not see that. Yeah, it will be a talk that we give you more money in your pocket.
Because and the thing with that, caller, is that you're absolutely right. You're seeing the increase in, because remember now, where you didn't have an environmental levy on water, you now have environmental levy on water, so that has increased. You're going to be paying increased NIS exponentially over a number of years. You're going to be paying more in NIS until you get to a certain level. You're also going to be paying more for your land tax because a reevaluation is being done, so a higher value is being given to properties. If a property was at one value, it's being given a higher value. Because it is being valued at a higher level, you are going to have to pay more in taxes. It's not because it's valued higher, you're going to pay less.
So
if it's valued higher, you're going to pay more. So all of these things are what people are facing.
Yeah, so even if you give somebody who was earning $1,000 now, if the person is getting $1,200 or $1,300, when you go out to your meeting, something else different, so you have to pay more. So the $300 you get extra, that ain't doing you no good. Yeah, it's not going to do it any good. We have to try to decrease on some of those, as I said, the utility bills and other stuff, so we could have more money, in the pockets of the people who could then spend it elsewhere. Yeah, we're not going to see that. Yeah? It's just going to be a talk. Yeah, but we will not see the difference in the rollout. Yeah, yeah, and also regarding the dumping of the what do you call it, the waste by the Japanese. I mean,
the nuclear waste.
That is a serious matter. I don't know, but in many years back, we have this thing. I think they signed some ship rider agreement or whatever it is. I don't know where that falls. Yeah, but that still don't give permission to do the nuclear, dumping of the nuclear waste. Yeah.
Well, they're asking the Caribbean governments, not just Grenada. They're asking the Caribbean governments for permission to go ahead and dump that wastewater. If you review the news now, you'd realize that they have recently, I think within the last 2 weeks or so, they have released wastewater from one of their nuclear plants. That's the water that they use for cooling the core and different things like that. They've released that water, and they want to take that now and dump it in the Caribbean.
No, that is not fair at all. By no means. I mean, that should not be allowed. I don't know how these ships not to be. I don't know how they allow these ships to cross. If they have to come here and dump it, they should not be way across in the Persian Gulf and all this area. Not supposed to allow these ships to cross.
Well,
what about on the way in dumping to the Caribbean? If something happens to the ship in between, what happens? How safe it is?
Well, my brother, let's hope that we don't even have to consider it coming to the Caribbean.
No, I mean the safety.
I am pretty sure.
Safety.
I'm pretty sure I could name off the top of my head at least 4 prime ministers that would say no, definitely no, right? But we want to hear, because we're talking about a group of people here. You heard the discussion with Mr. Joseph a short while ago. We're talking about a group of people here that we see what they did when it comes to the True Blue Development Limited and what took place down there. We see what they did. So we can't trust them when it comes to these issues. So we need to hear before the meeting what they have to say in relation to that particular issue.
That's why Sheldon, we have to be very careful in taking something. If somebody is giving you something, we have to know why they're giving you this and what is the motives behind it or not. Taking something from me personally, receiving something from somebody, I don't take it easy. So, like that is a debt I have to pay even somebody give you something, Yes, somewhere along the line, they will come back and ask you for something in return. Yeah. And then because of what they give it to you, may not able to say no. But at the same time, all this is a lesson for us to learn on the longer run. sometimes we could do without something. We don't know, by taking certain things. We have to be very careful. Yeah?
Yes,
Anyway, have a blessed night.
All right. Thank you very much, my brother.
You're welcome. Bye.
440-7377. That's 440. We have roughly about 17 minutes remaining. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. And let's see who's on the line. Hello, good night.
Sometimes we could do without something.
Hello.
We don't know,
Hello. Hi, good night. Hello. Oh, boy. Yeah, caller. Just remember when you're calling to take the volume down in the back. Yeah, you had the line, you was there, you could talk. Let me just make sure the box is clear. Yeah. You was able to talk, you was there. All right, nice. So 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. We have a call online. Hello.
And 329-3101.
Hello.
Oh my goodness.
Hello. No, you're live. Yes, go right ahead. You're live.
Listen, based on what I've heard before and now on the CBI program, am I to be...
Hello? Hello? Oh, caller, I think the caller may have touched their phone and they've actually put me on hold. And let me see. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think the caller accidentally touched the phone and they've put us on hold. Yes. Caller, call back. Yeah, I think you accidentally... It happens to me as well. Sometimes I'm using the mobile and it touched the side of your face and it accidentally put it on hold. So I think that's probably what happened to that caller. So caller, feel free to call back. Right? Nice. Yeah, so these are some of the challenges. And yes, Chris. What happened, Crystal? You good, bro? Yeah, I found that one strange. Grenada did not get any of the matches for the World Cup cricket. Grenada, that could have never happened. Never happen. With Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell as Prime Minister of Grenada, that could have never happened. Yeah, you must have get a cricket match. We've got a call online. Good night.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, concerning this toxic waste that Japan want to dump in the Caribbean, we have enough to deal with already in the health. And it's not only Grenada, the whole Caribbean island have a health problem. And this thing now will give a lot of skin disease, because when you go to the sea, when you come out in the water, you itching and all sort of things. All kinds of things busting out on your skin. Well, these people are naming something else, I hope that our government don't agree to that in spite of what they give them. You understand? Because you don't say already when you see they taking certain decisions, just imagine what they have gotten from these people. You understand? So not because Japan must have given them something, they have to kill out their population, because the fishes on them also would be toxic. Especially those who eat the fishes and eat the copper from the boat and that kind of thing. So you understand? Then we can't eat fish anymore.
Well, they have not dumped it. They're asking for the permission, but let's hear what our government has to say.
Yeah, they
I
have
pretty
not
much say what some
dumped it
others
yet.
are saying, but let's hear.
They have not dumped it yet. That's why we have to take precaution. We have to speak out now and let the government know definitely we don't want that, so don't sign up for that. Because our little island is too small. With this water that's them coming over.
But it also says, and that was a point that was made by Mr. Joseph, it also says a lot about how they view us as people here in the Caribbean, that they would even consider to ask us a question like that.
So they want to use the Caribbean as they suck away?
Well, that's exactly what it is. So
No,
maybe they think that the boat they give the other day, Grenada, go say yes, I don't know.
Hi, Lord, yeah.
We gain them back the boat, They
I feel so.
Just disrespectful.
Okay, then take care.
All right, thank you, my dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't come and tell these people and them. Seriously? No. Yeah, so I was speaking before, yeah. World Cup cricket, even the US have gotten matches in the World Cup cricket, and Grenada didn't get any matches. I'm saying, if former Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell was in charge, Grenada wasn't just getting matches, we was getting good matches too. So they wasn't just giving us like warm-up match and them kind of thing. We did getting proper match down here in Grenada, but right now, zero. We ain't getting nothing. We have a call online. Good night. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, good night. Yes, you're live. Go right ahead.
Yes, listen, but it was my error just now.
No, I realized what happened. Go right ahead.
So yes, based on my understanding of the CBI program and all that I've heard then and now, I get the impression that NNP was selling passports and NDC is giving away passports. And I will listen to you on this.
A lot about how they...
Oh, goodness. Well, as it is right now, and you did hear the analysis that was done by Mr. Joseph on the issue, there is no realistic, sensible, intellectual argument that could be put forward for giving back the investors their money. Yeah? There's none. No, because if there was an argument for that, then that argument would have also included taking back the passport at the same time. But there's no realistic argument that can be put forward. No intellectual, no factual, no argument that is based in any documentation that can be used for the reasoning to give back these 214 people their money. None. There's just none. None at all. Yet still, this government is in the process of doing that. Just that. The assessment is being done. We heard Mr. Richard Duncan on it. We've got a call online. Good night.
Hello, good night, Sheldon.
Hi, good night. How are you doing?
And good night to the not bad. Good night to the listening public. Sheldon, the point I always will make, and I will always continue to make that point. You see this thing, the Citizen by Investment program, and I will always talk about it. When you have a law firm that promotes that sells passport, when you have members of a government or members in government or members that advising politicians involved in that, you're talking about partisan politics. So you're close to them. All of them decide to get rich on the Grenada and the poor people of Grenada. All of them will be getting rich. All of them will be turning millionaires. So the conflict is not it's a conflict of interest. But in my opinion, they're doing it to benefit themselves, because from where they stand, they recognize they wouldn't be there for long. So whatsoever they get, they will take. And these are the same ones that fought against the government. Again, now they have to settle the issue. What are they doing to help poor people? Well, I hope that some of the monies they're paying out now, and I will always continue to advocate that, they could see the need to give back the poor people some of it. Because they give big tax break, over $600 million tax break to big companies or some of their friends, partisans. So you know where the money came from to sponsor the campaign, the last campaign that they campaigned for election. So we know where the money comes from now. So they have to nothing goes unpaid. But I have a philosophy about me. If you do well, you succeed. But if you do bad, you suck salt. Have a pleasant night, Sheldon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, caller. 4407377. And remember, you can call on the WhatsApp 4407377. We just have a few minutes. Might be able to jam in one phone call there. But just let me remind, because we've heard it several times for the night tonight. And it is conflict of interest. We've heard it several times for tonight. And there is a law in Grenada that is you can refer to as the Integrity in Public Life Act. Part 2 of it speaks to the conflict of interest, and it's very clear. And I'll read it for those of you on radio, though those of you online are seeing it. It says a conflict of interest arises from a situation in which a person in public life has a private interest which can influence or appear to influence the impartial and objective performance of his or her official duties. So tell me, if the person who is the chartered accountant, who is the accountant of a company, should be sitting on a board to make a decision whether to give that company money. They're the ones checking the company money. If they should be sitting on any committee to make a decision as to whether to give that grouping money or not. And if someone who has been directly affiliated with the bankers, the place the money had to go, should be sitting on a committee to make a decision as to whether that company should receive money or not. And tell me as well, if somebody who is working with the company getting the money should be sitting on a board that selects the subcommittee to make that decision. It is a clear... I think that this government seems to be afraid of the integrity. I wonder if they're going to withdraw it. Because it seems as though they are afraid of the Integrity in Public Life Act. When I say afraid of it, that they may be afraid to read it because they can't be doing the things that they're doing and think that they are not in breach of the Integrity in Public Life Act. They definitely cannot be doing the things that they are doing and think that they are not in breach of the Integrity in Public Life Act. I just thought I'd pull it up and give you all a little reminder. I don't even remove it from there. I just had that one on the computer right through. I don't remove it because you're seeing several instances of conflict of interest. If you have a private interest in something, you stand to benefit from something. How could you, according to the Integrity in Public Life Act, be part of making a decision that's going to benefit you financially? So you can't have a citizen by investment company, whether you take off your email from on the website or you leave your email on the website, the company name after you. So wait, so we stupid then. We stupid. So the company name after you, you know. You just take out your email, so that means you have nothing to do with it again. It's your company. So therefore, that company should not be involved and should be struck from the list, or you should strike yourself from the list, one or the other. And you have the same instances reoccurring several times over. But folks, there's so many things that we need to speak about, but we're quickly running out of time tonight. I don't want to raise any new issues now, but definitely tomorrow night, I should be speaking with a guest. As I said, it's going to be based really as well on what comes out of the throne speech tomorrow morning. Now, Her Excellency, the Governor General, Dame Cecile Lagrenade, will be, I know she would love the way that I pronounce her first name, Cecile. It's not Cecile, eh? Cecile Lagrenade, right. Yes. Will be, tomorrow morning, we'll be reading the throne speech. And with the throne speech, you'll be hearing which direction this government is intending to head in the next few days, weeks, months, and in fact, next year of the parliament sitting. What are some of the laws that they're looking to bring? We did hear them speaking about bringing one in relation to firearms. We did hear of a shooting that took place over the weekend once again, a next one. No, this person survived, but there was a shooting again over the weekend. So we're hearing of all of those things taking place. So we're looking forward to hear. I can't preempt. I want to hear what it is that they're going to be coming with. We have to speak about the UN tomorrow night as well, once we get the opportunity. But as I said, we should be having a guest online with us tomorrow night as well. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. And in everything you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. We are heading out of here, but let me leave you all with this one as we head out. Love you all.
Treasury was full of happy times, enjoying. It's over and laugh until poor people